Hey fanatics, we're now halfway through 2021 and it kind of feels like cinema is getting back to normal. We've had a lot of new movies come out both in the cinema and on web streaming. So myself, the Artie Dance, and Brian from Asian Film Fans are going to tell you the movies that we've watched so far this year and whether we think they're worth your time. On one side of me, I'm going to pop up the poster of the movie, and on this side, I'll tell you whether you should watch it or avoid it. First up, Assassin in Red or A Writer's Odyssey. Chinese sci-fi film came out at the start of the year. I thought it was pretty damn good. Abyssal Spider. This was a Taiwanese monster movie about giant spiders, and unless you like big spiders, I'm going to say nah. Bath Buddy was a surprisingly entertaining comedy film and was a Chinese movie, but a remake of I think a Japanese or Korean film, and I'm going to say, yeah, that wasn't too bad. Caught in Time, the return of Daniel Wu and Wan Xianyan to the cinema together, was a nice little Chinese movie, supposedly based on a true story, but who really knows. Action film, we both agree, yep, go watch it. Cliffwalkers was a Zhang Yimou Cold War thriller. Besides a kind of iffy final half of the movie, I'd still say it's not a bad film. Another monster movie was Cockroach Tide. This was a silly movie about cockroaches taking over a ship, and you know what? It was surprisingly entertaining. Coffee and Tea. This was a comedy movie with the guy from Detective Chinatown 3 and also a guy from Bath Buddy. I'd say avoid it. Wasn't that great a film. Vincent Zhao returned to the cinema in 2021, early 2021, with Counter Attack or Strike Back, and it was a load of crap. Korean film Deliver Us from Evil was raved about everywhere, and Brian says you should definitely watch it. Another Chinese comedy, Detective Chinatown 3, finally came out a year later, but I don't think it's worth your time, so I'd say skip it. The previous two movies, much better. Heading over to India, and we don't cover too many Indian films, but we did watch a movie from India this year, and it was Drishyam 2, a much anticipated sequel follow-up to Drishyam, and it was fantastic. So I say go out and watch it. It was terrific, and the Chinese are doing their version of Sheep Without a Shepherd 2 coming soon, but don't think it'll follow the same storyline. Next up, Dynasty Warriors. This came out a couple weeks ago on Netflix, and I reckon it's a damn good movie. I like Lewis Koo, so I say thumbs up. Next, Endgame. Andy Lau had another movie with Xiao Yang. It's a remake of a Japanese movie called Luck Key and a Korean movie called Key of Life, and I've probably got those two the wrong way around, but surprisingly good film. I'd say go watch it. A Hong Kong thriller came out this year called Fatal Visit, and just was not good. I think Hong Kong cinema's kind of lost its way other than Dynasty Warriors, and this one, just not good. Ghost Lab. Now, this was a Thai movie, came out a couple weeks ago as well, Netflix exclusive worldwide, and I really liked it, so I think you should go and watch it. Aaron Kwok and Jia Zifeng Zhang had Home Sweet Home, a Chinese thriller. It was far too complicated for its own good, and I'm going to say best to avoid it. Another movie that's probably best to avoid is in Japan, and it was an anticipated horror movie, Homunculus. No, give it a skip. And yet another movie I think you should avoid, a Taiwanese horror film, Hospital, was absolutely rubbish. And just to give you one more movie to avoid, going to Indonesia, this is I Know When You Are Going to Die. I was really looking forward to this film because I thought it would be quite funny. But I don't know where they went wrong on this one, so I Know When You're Going to Die, avoid it. Heading back to Hong Kong, and this was actually one of the surprisingly good films of the year other than Dynasty Warriors, another Aaron Kwok film was I'm Living It. That actually came out this year, came out on streaming this year, but was released last year. If you can find it, definitely recommend it. A little bit depressing, but great film. Heading back to Indonesia, Janin, don't really know how to pronounce it. Starts with J, alphabetical order. This is next. Not a fan. I thought that it was a very, very bland horror film and kind of just didn't hit the mark. So best to avoid that one. Now, from Indonesia, we go to Thailand and Mother Gamer. And I thought this was really fun. A really funny film. Had a couple of really great scenes, a very heartwarming kind of family drama, but under the wrap of video games. So if you like video games, I think Mother Gamer, great film. Going back to China, we've got a few Chinese movies in a row here. First up is the animation Naja, New Gods Reborn. Fantastic. Definitely watch it. Cyberpunk, kind of steampunk, I should say, kind of setting for the old Naja style storyline, but set a couple thousand years from the previous Naja. Technically not related to the animated one from 2019, but it is a great film. Definitely watch it if you can. Zhang Yimou had another movie come out this year called 1 Second, and it is a fantastic drama. So if you get a chance to watch that and you love these kind of dramas, Zhang Yimou did a terrific job. My next Chinese film is unfortunately one that you should avoid. Oversized Love. While the concept was good, the whole Alice in Wonderland kind of theme going on, Johnny Huang and Gao, I can't remember her name, Guan someone, she's really cute. Great film idea, but wasn't a fan of the ending. I didn't like it, so I'm going to say avoid it. But if you're a Johnny Huang fan, or if you love romantic movies, you might get better use out of it than I will. Heading over to Japan, this one comes, again, recommended heavily from Brian. I'm going to completely butcher the pronunciation of this one, but Rurouni Kenshin. Rurouni Kenshin. However you say that. Whatever it is, this is the final version. Brian says, definitely go watch it. Heading back to China, and Gong Li's movie from Lu Ye, Saturday Fiction, was finally released in 2021. It is a really, really good Cold War thriller, probably better than Cliff Walker's, so definitely watch it. It's all in black and white though, so as long as you can put up with black and white, definitely watch it. Back to Hong Kong. You know what, now that I'm looking at this list, it's making me out to be a bit of a liar, because it seems like Hong Kong had a couple of good films this year, and this one's got Andy Lau. It is a sequel to Shockwave 2, Herman Yao film. I'd say it was fun. I saw this in the cinema, had a lot of fun with it. So definitely, if you have a chance to watch it, I know it's just been released in the UK end of May. So for all you Europeans out there, definitely give it a chance. It's actually not a bad Hong Kong action movie. Over to Korea. I haven't had many Korean movies on this list, so my apologies for that. And the chick action flick Slate, I thought that was absolutely terrific. Great storyline, great setting, great characters, and just a fun film. So definitely go watch it. Back to China, and Soul Snatcher. I liked it. Yep. Bill Kong movie. He's a producer, I should say. He's the same guy who did Monster Hunt. So if you know the movie Monster Hunt and you like it, then you know what you're going to get from Soul Snatcher. And the best part about it is the music from the Japanese composer, and I'm going to say his name wrong, Joe Hisaishi, the same guy who did a lot of the Ghibli stuff. So Soul Snatchers, definitely. Back to Korea, and Brian and I disagree on this one. It's the sci-fi film Space Sweepers. Now, I thought it was quite good. I had no expectations of the movie, whereas Brian says to avoid it. So, conflicting opinions on this one. Leave it up to yourself to decide. If you like sci-fi, I reckon it's worth a shot. But, you know, it might not be the best film. Back to Japan, and a film you should definitely avoid. Stigmatized Properties. I'm not really sure what happened to horror movies in Japan this year, but Stigmatized Properties was not good. So please avoid it. But a horror movie that was good, back to Hong Kong, and now definitely the whole thing's made a liar out of me. Sugar Street Studio. This is a great little comedy horror film. It's a bit of a kind of homage to the 70s, 80s, 90s schlocky Hong Kong films. So Sugar Street Studio, a definite thumbs up. However, a movie that's not a thumbs up is Super Me. This Chinese sci-fi fantasy movie about taking stuff from dreams and bringing them back to reality. Not good. I didn't enjoy the ending, so I'm going to say avoid it. This one comes courtesy of Brian, this recommendation. It is the Korean film Swordsman, and he says, yes, please watch it. Staying in Korea, this was my most anticipated horror movie of last year. and it finally came out this year, is The Call, that Korean horror thriller that everyone was talking about when it premiered on Netflix around the start of the year. If you haven't seen it yet, it is probably one of the better horror, well, no, the best horror thriller, I'm going to say, that has come out in the last couple of years. So definitely watch it. A Chinese drama, very energetic Chinese drama, was The 11th Chapter. Very acquired taste movie. If you like these kind of dramas that are set like stage plays, this is a great film. Zhao Shun is in it. She does a terrific job. Song Jia, one of my favorite actresses, is also in it. Very small role. So it's The 11th Chapter, and I say definitely. Now, this is a movie that I just watched last night. Everyone has been talking about it, and they said you have to watch this. Thailand film, The Maid, and wow. All I can say is wow. What an ending. Definitely thumbs up. That last third, absolutely fantastic. A horror movie that you should avoid, it's a Chinese one. Probably should avoid almost all Chinese horror movies, but this one kind of didn't do that well. The Perilous Internet Ring. Now, I was expecting a little bit more than normal from this Chinese horror movie because of who the director is. It's a Japanese J-horror director, Norio Tsurata, but unfortunately didn't quite come through with this one. Now, there is supposed to be an international version that may be better, but don't have your hopes up on that one. Staying in China, and another movie I probably think you should avoid, Eddie Peng in The Rescue, Dante Lam film. This is another one that was delayed a year, supposed to come out last Chinese New Year, came out just after Christmas last year in the cinema. So The Rescue starring Eddie Peng, it's a great kind of set piece action movie, but didn't really enjoy it that much. Heading over to Taiwan, and a horror movie that I did enjoy was The Rope Curse 2. I liked the first Rope Curse movie. I thought it was a really fresh, really interesting movie with no blood. It's great to have a horror movie that has no blood. Rope Curse 2 continues that tradition. It's not, when I say no blood, I mean it's not gory slasher type film. It's still got a little bit of blood. But The Rope Curse 2, I think, is great. Back to China. And this is a war movie that is based on Dunkirk, or has the same theme of Dunkirk. It's The Sacrifice. Wu Jing, Zhang Yi, three great directors with this one. I just didn't really enjoy it. It's not this whole China war thing or anything like that. Just didn't like the whole storyline of telling me the same thing three times from three different angles. It's a marvel the way the movie was made. It was done in 3 months from pre-production to post-production. So that is an amazing feat in itself. Just a couple extra months for the movie would have probably made it really, really good. But unless you really want to see a Chinese war movie, the 800 is definitely better. So maybe avoid The Sacrifice. A drama film that you should definitely watch is from Taiwan, and it's called The Silent Forest. It's a bit of a tough movie to watch, and if you've seen the Korean film Silenced, you'll probably think these are very similar films. While the theme is similar and what happens in it is similar, they are based on different stories. This is a true story as well. Like I said, a tough watch, but a great watch nonetheless. This is another Taiwanese movie called The Soul. Now, there are definitely two different versions of this film. There is a Chinese version and there is the Netflix international version. Unfortunately, I've only seen the Chinese version and didn't like the ending. So I'm going to say avoid the Chinese version. But from what I understand about the Netflix version, it has a much, much better ending that actually explains the storyline better. So if you can watch it on Netflix and it doesn't start with that stupid golden dragon thing that you know it's the Chinese movie, then definitely watch it, but avoid the Chinese one. Another Chinese movie to avoid is a really bad sci-fi film that came out this year called The Uprise. It had a great idea about this bacteria that was attacking people and killing them off. And it had this whole kind of, dare I say, kind of COVID vibe to it. And then it ended up just being a really bad drama film. There was literally no sci-fi in it at all. So a definite movie to avoid. Two Chinese fantasy movies now. Both Yin Yang Master movies, both of them are on Netflix. There's the big one, Dream of Eternity, which stars Zhao Shun, and names escapes me off the top of my head. Definitely watch it. And then there's Dream of Eternity stars Mark Chow, and again, the name will come to me. That's the one about Boya and oh god, what are their names? Anyway, that's the good one. That's the one that's directed by it's just a complete mental blank here. The guy that directed Lord 2, Ravishing Dynasties. Yeah, that one. Definitely watch it. And the other one, Yin Yang Master Onmyoji, Zhao Shun movie, another one. Definitely watch it. Two Chinese comedies that you must avoid. First up, Tiger Roberts, Ma Li and Song Jia. It was just horrible. It was too much CGI and really not funny. And Warm Hug, starring Shen Ten, although it didn't really star Shen Ten. It had him in it for about all of 10 minutes. A movie about a guy with excessive OCD actually wasn't really funny. The director wrote it and starred in it, and it was just a bit of a wank fest, to be honest, so completely avoid that one. And the last movie on my list, and hopefully I can get my breath back, Yakuza and the Family. This one comes courtesy of Brian, and he says, definitely, you should watch it. So what have you watched in 2021 so far? What did you enjoy? What didn't you enjoy? Is anything that we have said in this video that you agree or disagree with? Leave us a comment down below, and otherwise, stay tuned for more video reviews. Thank you.